Find you all on here. Just wait for people to join. I'm just finding you on my phone so I can follow along. Here we go. Right, found you all. Welcome to Monday's Facebook Live. We are 8 o'clock here in the UK, and we're Monday the 14th of March, middle of March. Where is the time going? So welcome to this week's Facebook Live. I'm going to share with you today's coffee and card design, which I've made and went down really, really well. It was lovely to spend some time with a lovely group of ladies, drinking tea, being creative, eating biscuits, and yeah, it's my favourite way to start a Monday. So I will flip my camera around and we'll get started. If anyone's got any questions, please pop them in the comments. I'll do my best to keep track of what you're all saying, and yeah, if anyone has any thoughts on the card I'm making, the technique I'm using, I'd love to hear it. So we will make a start, and yeah, I'm sure we'll have a nice chat as I show you what I've been making. So let's get crafting, shall we? Oh, Bev, my cupboards, don't they look good? They do look good, don't they? I'm excited to craft in here, actually. It feels really different. I know we've not really changed much, but it does feel very, very different in here. Right, so this is the card design that I am going to share with you today. So this is this week's coffee and card design, and I've used the Nature's Harvest stamp set, mainly just the sentiment here. And I've used the Nature's Harvest dies, and my starting point for this week's card, won't lie, was basically rich raspberry card. I don't use it very often, and whilst I was sorting it out I found I had quite a lot of it, so this was my starting point, was this, and somehow I got from that to that. I have no idea how, but I'm really pleased with how it looks. I think for me the dies felt quite flat. The dies have got some embossing detail on, which you can use if you've got one of the embossing mats, but I thought that might be a bit tricky to use, so I wanted to bring a bit of colour to this die. So instead what I've done is I've cut them out of basic white, and I have added colour to them with sponge daubers. Okay, so that is the basis of the idea, the technique behind this card. It's very inky. Yes, we did get inky. No one got into too much of a mess, which was lovely to see, and everyone was really creative, which is always nice. And I wanted to bring a little bit of a vintagey sort of look to this, so I've done a little bit of ink blending on the card, and I've used some craft card for my sentiment. So that is the card in a nutshell. Do let me know what you think. Is it your sort of style? Do you hate it? Don't tell me if you hate it. Or is it something that you think, oh, I could have a go at that at home? Now, one of my favourite things about this card, before I show you, is basically not everything is stuck down flat. There's a lot of texture on this card, which is something I really love about these dies. So I've let them sort of roam free as such, and then I've also curled my sentiment slightly, so there's quite a lot going on this card, and I will show you how I put it together next. So let me just move my pieces out of the way. I'm going to bring in my grid paper. Here's my little mess that I created last night whilst I designed this card, and I'm going to use the same piece of grid paper again. Please don't judge me. Right, so I'm going to start with a piece of white card, and this has been embossed with the macrame embossing folder, okay, and it's really pretty, and Sorry, it's really pretty. There's a lot of texture, a lot of depth going on there, and it's also nice to use the debossed side as well as the embossed side. I have used the embossed side on here, and I'm going to start with a little blending brush, and I'm going to use some Sahara Sand ink. Okay, so I'm going to go around the edge of my card, and what I want to do is I want to take out the stark white on this card. Okay. It looks lovely. I love a bit of white embossed card, but for this sort of design I want to go for a sort of vintage style. So my ink pad needs a bit of re-inking after lots of use this morning, and I'm basically creating my shading sort of mostly down the vertical edges. Okay, so I'm not sure how much of this you can see. Okay, it's getting there. And one of the ladies that was at my coffee and card today, she said, I quite honestly don't think I've ever seen this set. And to be honest, it's one of those sets that I bought because I saw someone using it and I loved it. And then it's just been sat on my shelf, not really used. So I too feel that. But now I've used it, I think I'll keep using it. Because it is really, really nice. And this is one of those sets I think you can get away with just having the dies. So that is the starting point of my card. Morning Angela from New Zealand, and evening to Margaret. Okay, so I'm just going in with a bit of a darker colour just to highlight those edges a bit more. Oh, Caroline, how's my floor? My floor is wonderful. Well, it's not, it's mucky. It's mucky because it's been so muddy this weekend. But we have no more squidgy patches. My feet aren't able to go through the floor, and yeah, it's made a huge difference. Thank you so much for asking. So for those of you that don't know, I had to take the floor up in my craft room this weekend. Well, I didn't, the husband did, because we had some damp underneath. So I'm in the garden basically, so in my little garden room we had some damp that we had to deal with. After my foot went through the floor, we did it this weekend, and I'm very pleased with the outcome. Right, so there is my grubby looking piece of cardstock, which is the only way I can describe it. And I'm going to stick this to a piece of rich razzleberry. And I think it just brings something extra to that card. That white card has got a really nice effect now you've used the dark ink over it. Grab some glue. Okay, so let's just put that down. Give that a little bit of a press. I'm going to bring in my card base as well while we're here. So this card base is just basic white card, thick basic white card. And we can stick that to the front. Okay. Where's my glue? There it is. And this is one of these embossing folders. It doesn't matter which way you put it on. There's no right or wrong way. It looks lovely no matter which way you choose to use it. Right. So we are getting there. So that's my card. I'm going to pop that out of the way. And we are now going to work on our white die cuts. Okay, so we need some sponge daubers for this. And I'm going to start with this one here. Okay, now when I'm doing anything inky, I tend to start with the lighter colour and work my way towards the darker colours, okay? So let's go in with a bit of crushed curry to start us off. I'm just going to add my ink to the bottom of this flower. And it's up to you how much ink you put on. You can put on loads, or you can put on not so much. So I've done some crushed curry to start us off, and now I've got some Cajun craze. I'm just going to add a bit of Cajun craze to the tip of that flower. And this flower caused lots of confusion today. Well, not lots of confusion, but there was lots of Googling going on to find out what sort of flower this is. And I think we settled on it being an echinacea. Who knew? So I've done that. And now we've got some old olive for the stem. And it's one of those techniques that is really straightforward, but you just don't really think about it, or I don't. But it's a lovely way to add colour to your dies. Okay. So there we have our first flower. And it's one of those ones that you could add to sort of any of your dies that you're using, punches. I would just say to be quite delicate with your dies, something like this, because it's easy to break them. That's it. And whilst I'm there, I'm going to do the green on this one as well. Evening to you, Let. Sorry you're late. You can be excused, my dear. How are you feeling? I hope you're doing okay. Dave is listening to me. Oh, how funny. So Dave is at my mum's house tonight. Dave is the dog. And he's gone for a sleepover at Nanny's. I miss him. Don't like him being away. I've got a really early start tomorrow for a meeting. And Darren is off to London for the day as well, so he's gone to play at Nanny's, and he'll be very well looked after. Okay, so now I'm adding a little bit of pumpkin pie. I'm on the mend. Oh good, I'm really pleased to hear that, Let. Okay, loving my nails, thank you very much. Was I in my new place for crafting time? I sure was. Yes, Caroline. We went to the barn in Iwade, which is just up the road from me, and it was lovely. Very nice and chilled morning, with the fairy lights on and the sunshine. It was really pleasant. It had a totally different feel to what Coffee and Card has had previously, and I think my ladies enjoyed it. Okay, so last one, I'm going in with some rich razzleberry. He'll be very well fed. He will, Let, yes. And Debbie's ordering as we speak. God bless her. You did really like this set, didn't you? Okay, so there we have our flowers. Wow. I think they look like weeds, but never mind. I'll just show you these in a bit more detail. There you have the lovely flowers. I do like this purple, and I do like this one. I think they're my two favourites. So there we've got against our cards. So I'm going to start to put these together. And like I said originally, there's quite a lot of shape to these dies. I've let them sort of flow as freely as possible, and I've done that by just shaping some of them before I put them on the card. Okay, and the bone folder is a really good tool to do this with. You can just really shape those leaves. So we're going to put that one down to start with. And I'm just going to get a little dimensional to pop down here. This is where you have to be quite careful. Kind of less is more with the glue. And then I'm going to put him on just at a slight angle. Bev's put, tried ordering today, but trouble with card and demo support was in a meeting. There was an outage this morning, Bev, really early this morning. I managed to get my order through quite easily, but I think that was obviously after the outage. Give it a whirl again tomorrow. Okay, so this is the second one we're going to put on. And again, I'm going to do the same, just add a little bit of glue to that centre stem. Okay, and just sort of crisscrossing those over. And then the last one we have is this one. Now this one you have to be really careful with because it's very flimsy. Okay, and there we have it, that one. Now with this one, I'm going to put that down like so. There's my scissors. But then I'm going to pick this one up and I'm going to move it slightly so that it sort of crosses over that middle section. Okay, so it's starting to come together. Said my card would just climb up money in there. Fingers crossed for that. Oh yeah, fingers crossed for that, Bev. So annoying when things like that happen. So we've done that now, and I want to create a little bit more of a distressed sort of look. So I'm going to go for, I've got a wink of Stella, and I've got, I did have just a little white, little bit of water. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to spritz it ever so slightly. And what this does is that sort of changes the colour a little bit and you get sort of a brighter look. And then if we go over with the wink of Stella, it adds a really nice shimmer, which is quite tricky to see when you're on camera, but it is really pretty. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that little bit of sparkle there. And this sort of acts as a paintbrush as well, so it will sort of change the way your flower heads look. And what you can do, if you want more sparkle, just go over them again until you're happy with what you've got. So can you see that sort of sparkling? I don't know if you can pick that up, but I promise you it's lovely. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit of Inks Black ink because I do like a bit of speckle on my card. Like that. Lovely. Okay, so it's coming together really nicely. Now I'm going to go in for my sentiment. I've not had trouble before, wondered if this is the new security stuff. It very well could be linked to that, Bev, yeah. I must admit I haven't looked too much at what's been going on today, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's got something to do with it. Right, so I've now got some craft card. Craft card is lovely. It comes in 6x6 packs, and you get 20 sheets in the pack. This was in the annual catalogue, and it's staying, which makes me very, very happy. I'm going to go in with some basic black ink, and the sentiment I've got is sending healing thoughts. May nature's beauty bring peace to your soul. Such a lovely sentiment. Obviously you could turn it into another occasion with just a different sentiment. I'm going to stamp this on my craft card. Lovely. And then let's cut this out. I'm just going to trim around this. I'm just trimming around the top part of the sentiment just to get a bit of a different shape. Where is the die set in the catalogue? So it's in the autumn winter catalogue and it's carried over. So if you want to have a look at it, Helen, just have a little search on the website and you'll see it there. Yeah, Bev, do let us know how you get on tomorrow. I wonder if anyone else has had problems in that sort of like same sort of problems as such. Okay, so just following this round. And there we have our sentiment nicely cut out, and I'm going to just curl this slightly as well. Okay, seen quite a few on pinkies. Oh, that's fair enough then. Right, so I'm going to stick this down, just bend it a little bit so it doesn't fly away, and this is going to get stuck down just in the centre to start us off. So that's better. And then I've got a little bit of linen thread. So there's lots going on this card. I'm just going to tie myself a nice bow. I want quite a big bow, a big loopy bow. And a glue dot. Let's have a glue dot. So I'm going to pop this to a glue dot like so. Peel that off. And then this is just going to tuck underneath my sentiment, just to add a bit of texture to our card. And then to finish it off, or the front of the card, I have these. Now these are retired, and these were in the winter catalogue, and they're little teeny tiny ladybugs. Can you see that? I have to show you the card. He's just here. He's really cute. So this is going to get stuck down. Here's our little ladybug going for a little explore. On our plants. Just going to put him about there. Okay, so that is the front of our card all finished. All we need to do is the inside, and I've kept the inside quite plain just because you might want to write something a bit more in your card. I'm just going to stick that down a little bit there. Love the ladybug. I do Sandra. I think he just finishes it off nicely. He's a nice little addition. That's not going to stick now, is it? Let's just hold that in place for the moment. Lovely. So there is our front done. Inside just looks like this. So very, very straightforward. I've got a piece of rich razzleberry and a piece of white, but obviously that white is quite white in comparison, isn't it? So I'm going to add a little bit of colour to that in the same way that we did at the beginning. So I've got a little bit of light Sahara sand, and then we'll go in with some soft suede. And then a bit of ink. we all still there? How are we all getting on? This one? Oh, that's my finished one. This one here. Okay, so this can now go on the inside to bring it all together. And there we have it. That is our finished coffee and card design of the day. And I've used the Nature's Harvest bundle. So I've got the stamps and I've got the dies. So Nate Harvest dies these are. So you get the 3 large flowers, and then you've got some labels. This one and this one goes around the images in the stamp set. So that goes around that one and that one. And then you've got this nice little branch as well. So a really nice selection of dies there. And it's one of those sets you could definitely get away with just having the dies. But if you wanted the nice images to colour and those sentiments, then you can grab it as a bundle. It is still available as a bundle as well. When you purchase them together, you can save 10%. So guys, that's it for me this evening. Thank you so much for joining. All of these products are available to purchase from my online store. You can find that at www.staceymarsh.co.uk. Don't forget to enter the host code. You get a little free gift from me in April with the host code. And if you have any questions about anything I've done or any of the products I've used, please get in touch. If you're watching back on YouTube, a very warm hello to you. Don't forget to subscribe. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I will be live hopefully tomorrow at 1 o'clock on YouTube. And I'll see you then. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care. Bye for now.